Alright all, and welcome back to day 4 of the Royal Ascot previews for this week. The day-by-day previews, the race-by-race previews, and between all the races we're all obviously trying to find a couple of winners and try to stay afloat in these big flash festivals. For me, certainly, it's just about trying to break even or get as close to breaking even as possible. After the first 2 days, that's been relatively successful. A bit down on the first day, a bit up on the second day. And so far, we're currently at around 20 to 5. We've just had the Ascot Gold Cup on day 3, and again, it's been okay. We had a place in the first Project Dante. I thought he was a little bit unlucky as well, actually, for Brian Smart and Graham Lee. Just got checked at a bad time, flew home for third. He placed in a few no-shows. Unfortunately, one Ruder was no good. Dubai Fountain ran a grand race, became 5th when I needed her to come in the first 4. But then Joe Fanning, the new mustard man on the scene, winning the Ascot Gold Cup on Subjectivist with a superb ride from the front. Anyway, we've got 3 races left. I still obviously... my nap of the day still to run Sir Lamorak, which will probably depend how this day goes, because to be honest, I don't have too much confidence in the other 2 handicaps. They look absolute minefield, so anything to hit the frame and those will be a bit of a Brucey bonus. But we'll move on to tomorrow's card, and this will be up at around 6:30 again. I'll schedule it to be up at 6:30, so you'll be watching it after racing, and hopefully you've had a good day, and let me know how you've been getting on over the past couple of days down below. Starting off with the 2:30, the Albany Stakes, and I quite like one in this. Drawn in stall 3, a filly called Elliptic for Donnacha O'Brien and Gavin Ryan. You can currently get 14 to 1 about her. I think that's with 4 or 5 places with some bookies as well. So 14 to 1, 4 or 5 places. I think her form looks superb, to be honest. And I saw the Racing Post little kind of tidbit, kind of said that she was, RPRs are just in the 80s, no biggie. Well, I'm there looking at her form going, on her debut, she's beaten Quick Susie, who's gone out and won the Queen Mary, beating a very well-regarded American horse, Twilight Gleaming, and then was second last time at the Curragh behind Dr. Zemph. Dr. Zemph is trained by Ger Lyons, and to be honest, if he wasn't trained by Ger Lyons, he'd be over in Royal Ascot. He is a seriously good 2-year-old, I reckon, and could be one that could go around the Siskin route and potentially win a Phoenix Stakes or something. Ger Lyons just doesn't like travelling his younger horses. That's just the way he operates. So I think that form is very good, and I just can't understand why she's 14 to 1. A few here at the top of the market, you're just basing it off good word and good performances first time out. The Crisford horse won well, and then trainer talks her up, and suddenly she's 3 to 1 for this race. As for Elliptic, has a little bit more streetwiseness. Drawn over stall 3, I wouldn't mind as well. It seems with these straight course races, you kind of want to be one way or the other. You want to be on the near side rail, stand side, which is probably a little bit favourable, but you can also win up the other rail as well. It's just the middle ground where you're in a bit of a halfway house there and you're not getting much change from battling out in the middle. But we might see something different in the last couple of races, so that can always change and it could be all fluid. But Elliptic at 14 to 1, I think, is not a bad each way price, especially when you can get those places available. The 3:05, the King Edward, the 7th Stakes, and I'm going to have a go here on the Mediterranean for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore, obviously taking a similar enough approach to the reasoning behind Sir Lamorak in this. I thought Sir Lamorak would run in this race, but instead he hasn't. He's gone for the handicap, and the Mediterranean's been supplemented for this race and is the only Ballydoyle runner. And I know the O'Brien horse is being supplemented. Some people want to make a big song and dance about it. People were going humming and hawing about Serpentine being supplemented, and he was absolutely brutal in the Ascot Gold Cup. So, it doesn't mean anything to them. The 30 grand to supplement these horses is like us paying a fiver for some jellies down in the shop for these people with the money they have. So I wouldn't look into that. What I would look into is his form, which would just indicate he's just a really, potentially a little bit one-paced, but strong staying type. I think he's a mile 6 horse in the future, to be honest. I thought he ran a good race last time out behind Fernando Vici, who's got some good form so far this year. He won his maiden prior to that and was midfield in his back-end maiden of his 2-year-old career behind Arturo Toscanini. He's got a nice profile in this. I know Alan Kerr comes into this race having beaten Adair at Sandown, but you have to realise again that that was his first run of the season. He's come forward a long way from that run to go and then win the Derby. So I'm not sure just how much you can kind of value that form at that time of the season. Perhaps you can value it terrifically, and maybe Alan Kerr will be much better than these, perhaps so. But the Mediterranean looks a nice enough type. He's a bit backward. He loves this sort of distance, I suspect. He'll be staying on very well, and at 9-2, I'm willing to take him. The 340, the Commonwealth Cup, a tricky race, and I'm going to advise one here that's a very safe option. Well, not safe option, but it's a poor price each way, but I'm going to still back it. And then one that I've always liked for this race, and the safe one is Campanelle, because at William Hill and one other bookmaker you can get 5-1, and I'm going to just back her each way at 5-1. You can get 4 places 5-1. She won the Queen Mary last year. She then went over to win the Morney over 6 furlongs on heavy ground, which I thought was an incredible effort. She then was stepped up to a mile at the Breeders' Cup. Wouldn't look into that run. She didn't stay a mile. Back down to 6 furlongs here. Frankie on top. I think she's got a massive chance in this Campanelle. Wesley Ward's horses have been running okay without winning so far this week. This may be the one that just breaks that tide and potentially goes and does the business. And then the one of my absolute favourites, A Case of You, advised on the pre-flat season blog at 33-1 for this race. Currently 16-1. Going to put it up at 16-1. I think he's got an okay each way chance. He loves 6 furlongs. I think a stiff 6 will help as well. He's drawn stand side. Campanelle's drawn 14. A Case of You drawn 15. So we want near side action in the Commonwealth Cup. So hopefully between those two we can have a decent enough day of it. The 420, the Coronation Stakes. I think I'm being presented with a gift. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I think I've gotten a gift from the racing gods. Mother Earth is 4-1 for this race, and she's going to be my nap of the day, actually. I just can't understand it. She's won the Guineas. She then runs a storming race in the French 1,000 Guineas, which we saw Poetic Flair disappoint in the French 2,000 Guineas and still come on to then run very well in the Irish version and then win the St James's Palace. She's held an awful lot of these on form from the Irish 1,000 Guineas. Then you've got a few horses that they're making stuff up about. This Primo Bazio wins a listed race at York and wins it very impressively, I will admit. But it's a listed race, it's not the Guineas. Like, we're dealing with completely different calibers of form here. And I think Mother Earth and Primo Bazio being the same price is just bizarre. I think it's absolutely bizarre. And at Mother Earth at 4-1, I think she's a gift at that price. And I'm really hoping Ryan Moore can steer her home and she can just go to show that she is a very solid 1 mile filly. I don't think there's any lurkers in this race as much as some people think, and she will be my nap. The 5 o'clock to Sandringham, a very tricky 1 mile handicap here. I'm going to take 2 big flyers here, both of whom looked pretty good as 2-year-olds. One hasn't run this year and one has run once and disappointed. Both Judmont owned, one being Pomelo for Rafe Beckett and Richard Kingscote at a price of 18-1 off a mark at 89. I think she could be better than that. She was 2 from 3 as a juvenile last year. She hasn't run so far this year, so you are taking a fair bit on trust from that. And also Lucid Dreamer for Roger Charlton and Oisin Murphy at 20-1. She won 2 for 2 last year, looked really impressive, then reappeared in a Guineas trial and ran a stinking race, was far too keen. I think a step back down to Handicap Company now for mark at 90, there could be a bit of juice in her. At 20-1, I'm willing to take the chance. The 5:35, the 1 mile 4 handicap, I'm going to look at last year here, and I just think Scarlet Dragon's overpriced at 18-1. You can get 5 places about last year's winner for Alan King and Holly Doyle. £4 up on last year, and obviously we'll have to deal with slightly firmer ground, but looks like he's been just campaigned for this race, has ran a few nice races so far this season. Looks like he's being tailor-made for a crack at this, and I think off a mark of 101 could have his presence felt at 18-1. And then the 6:10, the Palace of Holyroodhouse handicap, one of my favourite races last year because our power absolutely destroyed them in it. Now, he was a no price, but he destroyed them, which is brilliant to see. This is a much trickier race this time round, but I'm going to take a chance on a horse that ran very well at this meeting as a 2-year-old. Hasn't been seen for 10 months. Caroline Dale for Dave Loughnane, who's had a superb Royal Ascot. He had his first winner yesterday. He had a close second in the opener today, the Norfolk Stakes. And I think this Caroline Dale's got a big chance. Pat Cosgrave takes the ride. She was third behind Campanelle in the Queen Mary last year. She was then placed also in Group 3 in listed affairs after that. Comes in here off handicap debut off a mark of 95, which I think is more than reasonable. Obviously, as I say, she's been out for 10 months, but you're getting 33 to 1 about a filly that could be better than handicaps when you think about it. And maybe she might need the run. She's, again, one of these ones that's drawn far side off stall 3. Well, hopefully she'll be right up against that far rail. I just don't believe she should be a 33 to 1 chance. So that's the reason I'm putting her up. Anyway, overall, we have 5, 7, 8, 9 selections, 10 points. Same again as the past couple of days. Obviously, it was disappointing Lord North didn't run yesterday as my nap. But it's been going so far, and hopefully we can keep having maybe a winner or two a day, which will likely keep us afloat and overall have a decent week by the end of it all. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel down below, and of course let me know your fancies for tomorrow's action. And until next time, which will be tomorrow evening, where I'll be covering the Day 5 preview, stay safe, stay well, land a few bets, and I'll see you guys then.